This is your big day, isn't it? Today you get to reveal to the world who was in the study waiting to kill Channing. Cruz Castillo is going to solve the mystery at last.
That's the plan.
So what happens? You get the Ellery Queen Award? You get shot and killed?
Will you stop worrying about my getting hurt?
How can I? In my experience, real killers don't like to be revealed. They get very upset. What are you reading that is more important than what I'm talking about?
I'm going over everything I have on each person who paid a visit to Channing just before his death.
Your homework, I guess.
You could call it that, yeah.
There must have been a lot of them.
Quite a few.
But only one of them set a trap by sending him a message to come to the study. Someone lured him away from the party, away from the praise and adulation that he was getting, to the corridor, to the study, to be killed.
To talk for a few minutes, would you and Eden excuse us?
Sure, I'm just about set up here.
You're certainly being very precise about all this.
Yeah, well, like I told you before, I want everything to be as close as it can be. By the way, Mr. C, I'd appreciate it if you'd reopen Channing Jr.'s room for me today.
No, Cruz, not that.
I wouldn't ask if it wasn't necessary.
It's not just opening a room. It's going to be opening old wounds and reviving memories that I don't want to think about anymore.
I understand that, and I'm sorry, but it's really important. In fact, I need to look at it right now if I could.
All right, if it's essential to the investigation.
I really think it is, just for today. And then we can be finished with this whole thing once and for all.
All right.
Excuse me. You wanted to see me, Cruz?
Yeah. Rosa, would you make sure that the tables with food in the atrium are set up exactly the way they were at the evening of Channing's party? And I'd like to see the same flowers, if possible, arranged in the same manner.
I'm doing my best, dear, but it's a tall order.
Okay.
My memory isn't that exact.
I know. Just do your best. And what is it? The banner that said "Congratulations, Channing" on it. Do we still have that?
We never throw anything away, dear. I'm sure it's down in the basement someplace.
Good. If you could find it, I'd like you to bring it up. I'll put it up. And Philip, would you ask him to use the same silver tray that he used that day to take the message to Channing?
Of course.
Thank you.
Cruz, don't you think you're being a little ridiculous about this? What difference does it make about a silver tray?
Excuse me.
Darling, listen to me. I think you should let Cruz do what he wants to do. I don't know why he's doing all this, but it seems right to me. Already this house is starting to take on the feeling of 1979. It's almost as if the clocks are being turned back. Oh, Cruz, evidently, that night, I was disguised as Dominic. Do you need me to go through all that again?
No, I don't need the disguise, but I would like you to wear the same clothes you wore that day. And gloves. You wore gloves, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Mom, he's gone crazy.
Eden, just let me do this thing my way, will you?
Try and stop you mean?
Do you two have any new plans for your wedding?
As a matter of fact, yes, we're getting married tomorrow.
You are? Mm-hmm. Tomorrow? That's great. The sooner the better. I'm so happy for you. And no matter what happens tonight, don't let anything stop you.
Killer is, and have the police take them off to jail.
I can't. The truth won't come out that way. It has to be done the way I'm doing it.
You know, you already have one fly in your ointment. You weren't there on July 30th, 1979 when Channing was killed.
You think that's news to me?
Well, if you're there this time, you might upset the dynamics, as one police inspector said.
No.
No? Is that all you're going to say?
Yeah, you see, I'm going to be playing a very important part in all this. The starring role, in fact.
Oh, really? And what's that?
I'm going to be standing in for Channing Capwell Jr.
It's horrible to think that while all of us were so excited that day, dressing and getting the house ready, someone was already planning to kill Channing. And that while he was in the atrium, smiling for the photographers and trying to look modest about that cup he'd won, someone was waiting for him in the study to shoot him in cold blood with my father's own gun.
That may not have been the way it happened.
Is it? You said you knew.
I didn't say that.
You said you knew who murdered Channing.
I think I know who, but I don't know how. That's what tonight is about. It's as much for me as for anyone else.
Well, then you were about 2 millimeters less obnoxious than I thought you were. Here you are, you're going around, you're telling that you can't say anything to anybody about anything. And it's really for fear that you're afraid someone's going to ruin your show this evening.
Forget my show. Let me tell you something, all right? When we're married, we're going to look back on this whole thing like it was a bad dream, like it never happened. Eden, when we get to Mexico on our honeymoon, we're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. They're going to have to slip our food under the door. Please.
Promise.
I'll promise if you promise.
What would make me change my mind?
Cruz?
That's Malone. Yeah, he's supposed to be here at 3. Just a second, man. Do you want to hide in the bathroom or something? Hey.
Hi. Hope I'm not too late.
Yeah, no problem. Did you get it taken care of for me?
The uniform is gone. As far as Dr. Armati or anyone else is concerned, there's no one guarding his hospital room. But one of the nurses at the nurses' station and one of the orderlies on that floor are ours.
Great. Okay, now the next thing is this. I want you to get the rest of our people out of sight. I know I gave you a list of names, and I told you I wanted somebody there at the door to escort each one of them to Capwell's. Forget all about that, all right? Instead, let's let them feel they're free to come and go. But I want all of them tailed anytime they leave the house. I think the first thing that they'll probably try to do is go put pressure on Armandi, but that's all right. That's what I want to see happen. You got that?
Got it.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, let me know if anybody tries to leave town.
Gotcha.
All right, thanks, Ed.
You know, you almost got yourself killed last time. I don't know why you didn't learn anything.
Last time what?
Last time you tried to play God. Tried to manipulate everybody, tried to get them to feel what they wanted to feel and do what they wanted to do. You ended up in a tunnel with an explosion and someone was killed.
That's not going to happen this time.
You're doing the same thing. You're putting yourself as the target. You're taking the place of Channing.
This time I know what I'm doing, and I know who I'm after. But I admit, Eden, once in a while I wonder if it's worth it.
What do you mean?
Well, just suppose I knew that the person who killed your brother is never gonna kill again, and it was just a... No. You see, even if I knew that, it would be beside the point. Justice demands to be served. That's corny, but it's true. I mean, someone murdered your brother, and it's my job to make sure that person is caught and punished. You shouldn't worry about me, baby. Believe me, this killer is no threat to me. You should worry about yourself and your family.
It's Marcello, isn't it? You feel safe with him because you have guards around him. He can't hurt anyone until the meeting this evening, right?
A lot depends on him. That's all I can say.
Then why would you tell that man that it was okay for people to put pressure on him?
Marcello is the wild card. I want to know what he'll do and what he'll say. I want to know everything he knows. And I don't yet.
You say you want to recreate the day that Channing was killed. Well, you better be careful. Because you're putting a lot of pressure on a lot of people. And some of them may not be able to handle it. Marcello, what are you doing?
I couldn't imagine that you would have too much concern right now.
Oh, my darling.
Especially after what I tried to do to your family.
You keep forgetting. You are part of my family. I don't forget that.
No, I don't forget. It's probably what made me put that down just now. Sophia, you will want me with you this afternoon when, if Cruz Castillo reveals who killed your son. Some time ago, you told me that you were certain that it could not have been me. I won't hold you to that now any longer.
Thank you. I was hoping I'd find you alone.
How did you get in here?
I walked. The guard is gone.
That's true, Marcello. They're gone.
Mm-hmm. The coast is clear. You might consider another escape, Marcello. In fact, I'd advise it, if not from the police, then from me. Assuming you told Cruz I'm the one who murdered Channing. You don't know what I might do to keep you from repeating that this evening.
Just now,
No, I didn't see anyone tailing him.
Mason didn't waste any time, did he? Don't let Armandi leave. Switch on the bug we planted in the room, and just don't let them kill each other.
Inspector, Mason Capwell isn't the only one. Mrs. Armanti's in the room, too.
Sophia, damn. Donna, never mind. Just hold down the fort till I get there. Bye.
Things are already out of control?
Yeah, I've got to go.
It's just as well if he should hate me now. I don't know exactly what I told you, but whatever it was too much. You know now, don't you?
I'm not going to stand around and let Cruz or Mason or anyone malign Channing's good name or his memory in this house.
Daddy, we all loved him in different ways, and nobody can change that.
If Cruz can find out who killed Channing, I can't help thinking that after all these years, it would be like lifting a curse off of this family.
I think he can. He's not too happy about it, but he is sure of it.
You mean like maybe this is not going to be good news?
Maybe.
Hey, are you two going to get married after all this is over?
We better be.
Just tell me when and where, please.
Look, I want us all to remember that no matter what happens, what we discover, it's not going to change how we feel about each other. And we're letting Cruz do this, make this grand attempt at recapturing 1979 because he says he needs to. But I want us all to know that this is a private thing between us. It's a family matter.
Eden, where's Cruz?
Yes, where is Cruz? He who knows all and sees all. We've even divided ourselves into sinners and sinned against for convenience.
I'm sorry to have kept you. We're ready now. We'll be going into the study in a few minutes, but first I wanted to explain
First,
how
you wanted to savor your moment of triumph, Cruz. Don't feel bad. Any of us would have done the same. We don't begrudge you.
Mason, shut up.
Thank you.
There's no triumph in this for anyone, Mason. The best that can be said about it is that it might possibly put an end to a long period of uncertainty for some people who may or may not be able to go on with their lives a little easier now. That's all you can say about it. Now, once I found out that Peter Flint's confession had been faked, I opened up the case records again, looked at evidence that was presented at the trial of Joe and Lionel's trial as well, went through the police research files, looking at things that no judge would have accepted as evidence, but that I needed to know. I even reread Channing's journals. But none of it really fell together until the hotel fire, when Marcello, in his delirium, tried to tell someone, I should say, what he knew. You must have thought you were going to die, huh, Doc? You know, I found it difficult to believe you until I realized that for the first time, 6 years after the fact, everything fit. Now, I don't know any more about Channing than I ever did, really. That's not what this is about. The man seems to have been a blank, seems to have agreed to become the fantasy for anyone who loved or hated him. All of you can offer reasons, I'm sure, for feeling about him the way you did, and I'll bet each of you feels that only you knew what he was really like deep down. Personally, I make no claim to have known the man. But I'll tell you what I do know. Fact number one. 6 years ago, he returned home from Budapest, having won the Equestrian World Championship while riding with 3 broken ribs, which got him invited to the White House, got his picture on the covers of Time and Sports Illustrated, in a lot of wonderful articles with titles like An American Royal Family and Storybook Lives, and so on. Fact number 2. His father threw a lavish reception in honor of his celebrated son's return. He spared no expense and invited everyone, even people he normally didn't speak to, just to show how proud he was of his son. Fact number 3, as we all know, is that that evening, at the moment of Channing's greatest glory, someone shot him down in cold blood. Someone whose identity, indeed, I do know. And fact number 4, of course, as I imagine you've guessed, that person is in this room. Channing Jr. and his circle must have felt as if the world revolved around him that evening. And in a way it did. His face was on every newsstand in the country. The acclamation was worldwide, actually. Another stunning success in a short lifetime of stunning successes. But nothing was really what it seemed to be. For someone among the celebrants would soon become a killer. And our young champion's appetite for honor was superseded by his desire to ruin the lives of several of the guests. You served a huge cake at the party that night, Mr. C. It had a figure of a horse and rider on top, had 7 layers. But it struck me that it hardly compared to the layers of intrigue at work in this house. That morning, the morning of the day he was killed, Channing asked several people to meet with him here. Those people are in this room. They came to him one by one, and none of them, as far as I can tell, was aware of the others. These meetings weren't spur-of-the-moment kind of things. They were each of them well-planned, down to the last twist of the knife. The press was coming to enjoy the good food, but they'd have been delighted, I'm sure, had they realized that young Channing intended to blast his party right off of the society pages and into the headlines. You see, he warned each of his visitors that he had heavy ammunition to use against them. Let him know he was going to mow them down with it come evening. He even went so far as to make it clear how thoroughly he was planning to enjoy the bloodletting.
Oh, wait a minute. Cruz, I gave you credit for being a responsible investigator. Now you're just putting a show on here at the expense of my dead son.
I'm telling it like it happens, Mr. C.
But Channing is not here to defend these insinuations and this slander.
Who did he meet with, Cruz?
I'm getting to that. Channing himself wrote all this down in his journals.
He wasn't that kind of person.
I'm afraid you're going to have to face some rather unpleasant facts about him. I'm sorry.
What are you saying? That Channing brought all this on himself? What happened to him?
Not necessarily, though the thought does cross one's mind. You see, Channing was brilliant, handsome, gifted. A lot of people were drawn to him. Many of them loved him. But he was also another man, an angry, bitter, often lonely young one who saw every friend as a competitor, and every competitor inevitably as an enemy, who needed so desperately to win that he couldn't take the time to enjoy his triumphs.
I don't know this person that you're describing.
He didn't want you to. He was afraid you'd be disappointed in him.
You always knew I loved him.
As long as he did what you wanted, as long as he was a winner.
That's not true.
Maybe not, but it's what he believed. It's what made him run, Mr. C, and kept him running. In fact, he wrote in his journal that seeing your face when he won the world championship was worth the agony of riding with broken ribs.
I was never so proud of it.
Making you proud was all he cared about.
Oh, you're wrong. Channing was ambitious for himself. Pleasing me was only part of it.
Pleasing you was the whole show. This whole thing, the revelation of all these dastardly deeds was for your benefit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Giddy up, giddy up. Uncle Stacy. Daddy.
What is it, Brandon?
Can I put this on?
It's one of Channing's medals. Were you in his room?
There were lots and lots of them. I like this one because it's so shiny.
Brandon, you weren't supposed to be in his room.
But the door was open this time.
Well, it shouldn't have been.
I told you I needed it open, Mr. C.
You've told me a lot of things today that don't make much sense. Now, Brandon, son, will you take this back into his room, and then please, I don't want you to go in there again.
I want to be just like Channing and win everything. Wouldn't that be nice? You'd be so happy, wouldn't you?
Yes, I will. We'll talk about that later.
But do I still have to put the medal back right away?
Oh, you can play for it. You can play with it for a while.
Thanks, Daddy.
All right, well, let's get on with this. We've wasted too much time already.
You'd think that winning an extremely prestigious international competition would have been enough of a tribute to his father, but Channing was on a roll. He wanted to up the ante, wanted to dazzle CC with his biggest, most spectacular feat yet. The serving up of the Lockridges on a platter. After all, what could possibly make his father happier than seeing his bitter enemies publicly humiliated? And Channing figured by the time he got through revealing what he had on them, they'd be wiped out and run out of town.
When hell freezes over.
You tell him, Augusta.
Oh, do shut up, Lionel.
And he had an even closer target in his sights that evening, his half-brother Mason. Now, truly, these two hated one another. Channing took every chance he got to discredit Mason in their father's eyes. He liked to take things from him, too. It was only when he saw that Mason was interested in Santana, for instance, that Channing decided to get interested in her, too. He'd recently uncovered a scheme that you'd cooked up, right, Mason, with your real mother, Pamela? A scheme that would have hurt him badly, and CC, too? So your neck was also on the block that night. Indeed, our young equestrian hero was riding high, calling all the shots. Fancied himself the master of everyone's destiny. What caught him unprepared was the return of certain ghosts from his past come back to haunt him. One was a friend of his in Peter Flint's, who showed up uninvited. Another was his mother, Sophia. And the last was an enemy his father didn't even know he had. A man bent on destroying C.C. Capwell's happiness. Go on. I'd like you all to join me now in the study.
Why, Cruz?
Because that's where Channing held his little morning briefing sessions. We're going to recreate those meetings now with people playing their own part.
Oh, goody, our own little psychodrama. How exciting.
And who will play the starring role?
I will. Channing, I will. You see, he kept extensive journals, Mason. I'll read from them. I know what he said to all of you. And I think you remember what you responded.
What if someone lies?
I'll know.
You really think this is going to work?
Oh, yeah. Before the night is finished, the real killer of Channing Capwell Jr. will finally be revealed.
I can't believe the killer is in this house with us right now.
Why? Lionel, Mason, Warren, they were all suspects at one time or another.
You think it's one of them?
I think it's Marcello. But we already know he's capable of killing. What about you, Kelly?
Yeah. I mean, after what he tried to do to Daddy?
Well, I know who didn't do it. Mason.
Does that come from proof or instinct?
Instinct, but, well, we've gotten to live with each other for the last couple weeks, and, well, I know there's no way he could kill anybody. I mean, he can use people and con them, and we'll borrow money from him, but there is no way he could kill him. I guess I think it's Marcello, too.
Tell you, I don't envy Cruz's job, but I think he's doing it very well.
Yeah, I'm going to go find him for a second. I'll see you in the study.
Okay.
Okay, Copper. This was your bright idea. Get ready to pull it off.
There you are.
Yeah, here I am.
You all right?
I'll survive. How about you?
I'm in love with you. And in all of you, I think you're brilliant.
Babe, I haven't even done anything yet.
It's okay. I still think you're incredible. I'm really terrified to hear what you're going to say. I'm so scared.
I love you, Eden.